Hey everybody out there, my name is Dragnix. With me working on bigger reviews lately, I feel like that I need to update my review scoring system video to understand how I rate a game to you guys. See, unlike traditional reviewing sites, my review system is a bit different. Sure, there's a score involved in the end, but there's not just one number that you can point to and say, that's the score for this game that Dragnix gave. See, games nowadays are so varied, and have so many factors that can go into them, that it's important to understand that there's differences in how we take in a game. A shining jewel of a game for one person could be the next person's worst nightmare, due to what criteria they judge a game based off of. Understanding this is where my review system comes into play, to try to bridge the gap between the objective portions of the review on things like game design as a whole and its implementation, to the specific taste of a gamer that the game may deliver on. First, let's start with the base score. My score is a buyability rating. What I mean by that is, even a game that's great in several mechanics, that's solid in a lot of ways, it doesn't translate directly to a must-buy rating. Several factors go into it, including its execution of its gameplay mechanics, if the game has done something interesting that you can't get anywhere else, and the price of the game. Yes, I'm firmly of the belief that because of the overall power of the market right now, a price does play a factor into the review score, and thus an evaluation for your purchase. The score will always be based on the original release price. $60 for the order? Hell no, it'd score really low. $15? Okay, maybe a bit better. These are just some of the factors that combine with more traditional review elements that go into a game's score. So what are the levels for these scores? Well, here you go. A game that scores 90 or above is an immediate buy at full price. This game is fantastic. It's either a shining example of the genre in question, or it offers something so unique in combination with great mechanics that it makes it something that you should grab right now. It's the top tier of gaming, the game that people should be talking about and putting their time into. Some examples of games that fall into this base score for me would be Bayonetta 2, Renowned Explorers International Society, and Rocket League. A game that scores between an 80 and an 89 is a solid buy, unless you're hurting for funds. This is a game that you should pick up, even at full price, unless you're really hurting in the funds category. It's a step down from the immediate buy, as these games will include flaws that don't stand out too much, but do drag down the experience, or games just on the cusp of something fantastic. Games that I've reviewed in the past with this equivalent base score include Victor Vron, Super Hot, and Pokken Tournament. A game that scores 70 to 79 is a niche buy, or it's a discount-focused buy. This range hits a game that will be perfect for those who absolutely love the genre, as the game is solid in that category, but has several flaws that hold the game back for the general audience to really love it. These games may have something absolutely shining about them that make them stand out, but are dragged down by so many other issues that sadly, it will keep it from a solid purchase right now. For those who maybe like but not love the genre, or are generally indifferent to it, this category represents games that you could probably wait for a sale on, unless you are really desperate for a game. Games that I've given the equivalent score to include The Witch and the 100 Knight Revival Edition, The Evil Within, and The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. A game scoring a 60 to 69 is a game that you should wait for a deep discount on. These games are alright, they do the job, but they are outshined by other games significantly, and they don't have the staying power to really hold their own over time. These are games that have significant flaws, things that really hurt their enjoyment and really can't deliver on their price point at its first shot. It's only worth a purchase when you get into that 50%, 75% discount where the price may match the game in question. But it's definitely a lower tier. Games that I've given this equivalent score to include Prospect and Onichiabra Z2 Chaos. A game that scores under 60? Nope. These games don't have anything worth your money or time. They are outclassed by other games in such a way that you'll need to pass on them in general. They aren't worth your time. Games in this category with equivalent scores include Sonic Boom, Alone in the Dark Illumination, and Yasai Ninja. But there's one other thing you need to know. See, my reviews have something called an enhancer system. There are elements in games that will mean the world to some people, but for others, it will mean absolutely nothing. One man's trash is another man's treasure, or so the saying goes. But what if instead of a base score for every game, the score changed based on that feature? That's what an enhancer is, an addition or subtraction to a score based on a specific criteria. These criteria will be specific and could range from political and emotional elements, like a specific type of content that will not play well for a certain type of person, to a feature focus that will do well with certain types of gamers. Take, for example, the idea of fan service. For some people, that would be a huge problem, but for others, it's perfectly fine. And for some people, they want more of it. That's when an enhancer will be added, to give a value to adjust the score in question. Now, I've used ones from a single player mode only one to wanting a traditional horror experience, down to if you are a masochist in nature. You take the enhancers that apply to you and add and subtract them to the score appropriately. This is specifically to call out the strengths of a game or something that may be a little bit more subjective at this point. But these enhancers can be ignored entirely if you just want a base score like I told you before. Anyway, that's the basics of my review system, and yes, I know, it's almost an 8-minute video, but I hope that sheds the light on any reviews you watch in the future on this channel.